you all? Carpetbagger here, coming to you live from the south, more specifically Cherry Log, Georgia. And even more specifically than that, I am in front of Expedition Bigfoot. This is a Sasquatch museum out here in Cherry Log, Georgia. And I feel like, as of recent, Bigfoot has had so much of a resurgence. You know, as we talk about social distancing, I feel like America's kind of embraced Sasquatch as this symbol of social distancing, someone who has been able to social distance very effectively for the past several hundred years. But yes, as I travel across the country, it is interesting the different stories, the different variations of Sasquatch you hear. It seems that almost every part of the country and almost every part of the world has their own story of this ape man that seems everywhere but nowhere at the same time. Obviously a creature that is very good at hiding, very good at making itself not known. Well, maybe not, because we have, you know, plenty of evidence to support that he actually does exist. Well, we don't have that smoking bullet, we don't have the festering corpse of a Sasquatch to put in a museum, but we do have little pieces, little bits of evidence to say that he is very, very real, and a lot of that evidence is right here at Expedition Bigfoot. This is a very analytical, very research-based museum that shows different bits of evidence and talks about how Sasquatch is hunted and how this information is gathered around the country. So I have been here before, but with all this recent talk of Bigfoot, with all this renewed interest in Bigfoot, I felt that we should take another look at the Expedition Bigfoot Museum. So please follow me. Right off the bat, you can see here the Chattahoochee National Forest actually mark the Bigfoot hot zones. We are here in Cherry Log, Georgia. You can see these different areas where there's going to be hiking. You can see there's hiking areas right here where you could possibly locate a Bigfoot. Love the very dramatic entry point into the museum. You can see the prayer flags they would have in Yeti country. You can see this Bigfoot right here carved out of wood. See some tools here that would be used in a Yeti expedition. Those are some big feet right there. I wonder if those are boots that belong to a Sasquatch. Look at this, they even provide a kennel that you can place your dog in while you're in the museum. All the individual Bigfoot sightings pinned to the map. You can see right here, 1981, man observes dirty white Bigfoot. November 1992, brothers see 7.5 foot tall Bigfoot. See 1985 military helicopter crash. Oh, that's an interesting story where there's a helicopter crash and they're attacked by big feet. Yeah, pretty amazing, all the different individual stories.
You will not to embark on a journey that many have taken before.
Just kind of a wall of fame, different Sasquatch hunters, people that have found evidence of Sasquatch. Here's a replica of the Pamboche hand, a Yeti hand that was being held in a monastery in Nepal. As you can see, it is much larger, fingers much longer than a normal human hand. Now some of these items here, such as this camera and these binoculars, were used by a Yeti hunter by the name of Tom Slick. And Tom Slick would actually steal a bone from the Ponchabe Yeti hand and smuggle it back to America using the help of Jimmy Stewart. Yes, Jimmy Stewart from It's a Wonderful Life snuck the bone back in America through customs by hiding it in his wife's lingerie bag. The bone itself was DNA tested and said to contain human DNA, but the hand itself obviously much larger than a human hand. So very interesting finding, and a very interesting tale of Jimmy Stewart stealing Yeti bones. It's a facsimile of a Yeti scalp in Nepal. It does seem like a lot of the monasteries in Nepal that have Yeti items. I don't know if they're worshiping the Yeti, but obviously consider pieces of Yeti to be very special items. These two masks here are actually replicas of masks that were used in the show Monster Quest. Does anyone remember Monster Quest? It's a TV show where they scientifically investigated different cryptids. A very fun show. Wood-carved Yeti. Here by the bathrooms, they have some different names for Sasquatches. In Georgia, I guess if you'll call it the devil monkey, the hill monkey. In Oklahoma and Ohio, it's called the grass man. Of course, the skunk ape in Florida, the Honey Island swamp monster in Louisiana. Missouri calls him Momo, which is pretty funny. We have the folk monster in Arkansas, the boojum in North Carolina, which, yeah, the boojum, I've heard of the boojum. Boojum has some interesting characteristics. Boojum almost is like a mountain troll. I know he likes collecting jewels and diamonds. See, it's called the wood booger in Virginia, the woolly booger in East Tennessee. Also, woolly booger is also what they call deer, the back end of a deer turned into a fake Sasquatch. The Magalolan monster in Arizona. There's an exhibit on what does Bigfoot eat. It says, are they omnivores, carnivores, or opportunists? There's quite a thing in here. Scraps from garbage, crayfish. Seems like almost like Sasquatch eat like raccoons, but you know, they are predators too. They eat deer, they eat dogs. That's pretty scary if Bigfoot ate your dog. They like hot dogs. Yeah, it just seems like they like to scavenge. What's this? Mice wrapped in grass like little packages left as gifts. So I guess if you want to attract Bigfoot, you can wrap mice in little packages. It's a map of Florida showing the different locations of the skunk ape. It says the green pegs are first-hand sightings, the yellow are glimpses, and the pink indicate frequent areas of sightings. So there we see a lot of green down here in the Everglades where the skunk ape is often seen, but really the entire state of Florida is covered in sightings. You can even see some around the Orlando area. Georgia has a lot of sightings as well, but looks like they're very concentrated in the North Georgia mountains. Of course, one of the most common pieces of evidence we see of Sasquatch is the cast of their footprint. And what really interests me is how different each one can be, depending on different areas of the country. This is from Decatur, Illinois. You can see it has a very interesting toe that juts out to the side. And here's a Bigfoot print from Grays Harbor, Washington. You can see it's much larger than this print. It has more of the standard toe design. Here's a hand cast from Washington State. Again, very large hand print. This is a footprint from Idaho. And yeah, that Bigfoot hand cast is just absolutely massive. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, my hand can fit right in the center of that. There's a baby Bigfoot print found in central Pennsylvania. You can actually see the different grooves and lines in its foot. It's a Yeti footprint cast from Nepal. You can see maybe the Yeti is a little different. You can see it spreads out wider, those are the toes. Here's a traditional Native American Sasquatch suit where they would actually dress in these suits and perform rituals and dances, all in the name of Sasquatch. You can see the different Native American Sasquatch masks. This is a Titmus Gimlin print found by Bob Titmus. This is the most famous video of Bigfoot, the most classic recording ever caught from the Patterson-Gimlin film. This is the footprint taken from that area. These are labeled as cripple footprints. You can see, I guess, where his toe is kind of in an odd position. See another cripple foot, yeah, where it looks like his toes are kind of messed up. It's a replica of a 1,000-year-old pictograph, a Native American pictograph, portraying a Bigfoot. Here is some possible Sasquatch hair. It's recovered by an eyewitness in Cahuta State Forest in 2015. You can see a campsite here during a Yeti exploration. Here's a foot cast, just a picture of the actual print from the Yeti, and casting of its footprint from the snow. These are witness sketches here. You can see them telling stories there in the middle. But these are all sketches done by people that have seen them, or sketches made from people giving their accounts. Well, that would be very scary if you were in a tree hunting deer and a Sasquatch came up and he was that tall. I don't know, you wouldn't want to shoot him in the face. I think that would make him very angry. You know, these different sketches. These were items that were left as a gift for Bigfoot during a Bigfoot hunting expedition. And as you can see, they've been ravaged and the food has been drained. It's possible that it was a Sasquatch who handled these items, which is pretty cool to think about. Because they were in this bucket here, suspended up in the air. I guess high enough so a bear couldn't get to them, but Sasquatches are taller than bears, so they would have been able to reach it. And this may be a one-of-a-kind artifact here. That is a buttocks imprint of a Sasquatch. A Sasquatch must have sat down in the mud, leaving a print of his rear end. It's an exhibit about Teddy Roosevelt and Bigfoot. Now, Teddy Roosevelt never saw Bigfoot himself, but he did study Bigfoot and was interested in trying to locate Bigfoot, and did write about experiences that other people had with Bigfoot in his books. Here's a replica of a Bigfoot. So tools of the trade are things you would need to hunt a Bigfoot, different binoculars, cameras, and whatnot. Also, you want to make sure you take along your plaster of Paris so you can take plaster cast of the footprints. Your handmade wood clappers is they make a knocking noise that helps summon Bigfoot. And then here's some gift baskets that you could make for Bigfoot. It's got some apples, pears, a little stuffed lion, that's pretty cute. Peanut butter and honey. I guess they really do love sweets. Oh, Bigfoot loves almonds. I do too, big guy. This four-wheel vehicle here was used by the Bigfoot research and tech team to hunt big feet. See the gift baskets there. Yeah, I love this tableau here. This is the Ape Canyon encounter. These miners were staying in this cabin here and were full-on attacked by a group of Sasquatches. You can see one Sasquatch peering in the window with his glowing red eyes. The other one here trying to burst through the door. This miner's trying to hold them back with his axe. This miner's reaching for his gun to try to fend off the Sasquatches. Now, Ape Canyon is near the site of Mount St. Helens and actually was named Ape Canyon because of the remarkable amount of Sasquatch reports in that canyon. It's a replica of the Winchester rifle used to fight off the group of 8 men. Shows some of the Native American Sasquatch names, different names by the different Native American groups. Different Native Americans had different names for Sasquatch. You can see the translations here. Slick Indians, Troll Burnt Hair, Wild Woman, Spirit Spear, Evil God of the Woods. Shows some skeletal figures of giants. The present day man, about 6 feet tall, but it says in 1950s there was a 15-foot tall person found in Turkey. Goliath was said to be 10'6" in the Bible. This was, what's this? 1577, under an overturned oak tree in the canton of Lucerne. A 20-foot tall man was found. It says a 23-foot tall man found beside a river in France. Here's sightings of Bigfoot along the Appalachian Trail. Of course, the Appalachian Trail starts down here in Georgia and goes all the way to Maine. You can see in Pennsylvania and New York that had some sightings. There's one up here in New Hampshire.
And let us not take lightly that Gigantopithecus was indeed a very real creature. A friction ridge is...
Here's an artifact of the notorious folk monster in Folk, Arkansas. This is where in 2015 a dog pen was smashed and the dog was killed, potentially by the folk monster. There's a skunk ape cast. Here's a tranquilizer gun used in 1970 skunk ape hunt by Robert Morgan. You can see the tranquilizer darts. Those are pretty heavy duty. There you can see the pictures captured of the skunk ape. These pieces of metal here are scraps from a helicopter crash in Dahlonega, Georgia. A military helicopter crashed and was allegedly attacked by a pack of Sasquatch. These are items from a family in Carroll County, Georgia, who would leave gifts for Bigfoot, and these items would be left in their place. There's an Indian axe head, and there's some sort of digging tool, maybe that a Sasquatch would use to dig in the dirt. I guess they leave like shiny objects as well. There's a magnet and a pair of tweezers. Bigfoot even left a heart-shaped rock, which is kind of sweet. Yeah, Sasquatch would leave pieces of animal bone, just other little trinkets, such as a tube of aftershave, some partial footprints of the gibbing Sasquatch. Here's a tree twist. Apparently one of the ways that Sasquatches mark their trails by breaking and twisting trees. I guess is the way to find their way through the woods. Now what you're looking at here is a 36-inch Sasquatch turd found in Oregon. It says that it was found by Dr. Matthew Johnson, and when he found it, it was said that it was still steaming. It's actually a working research lab here in the back of the museum. See a little Yeti right there, and some magnified hairs. You can see the difference. There's raccoon hair, bear hair, deer hair, and Sasquatch hair. You can see different bits of equipment be used in the field for hunting Sasquatch. They actually have a special defense spray against Sasquatch. I guess that's if they get a little too close. This fridge is only for DNA, hair, and blood samples. You can see some bags of hair in there. Different hair samples right there. See a plaster cast being worked on. I do love the shirts here. Love that that logo that they have. And check out this. We have Rasta Bigfoot. Just a little skunk. The Bigfoot's here wearing the t-shirt. Oh look, it's a Little girl Bigfoot. It's missing 411. I'm not sure what exactly that is. It's talking about unexplained disappearances. Always love a little taxidermied squirrel. Interesting picture right there. It shows a Sasquatch running through a snowy field like carrying a deer. Got a little bit of Mothman merchandise in here. Various pieces of Sasquatch merch here in the gift shop, including these Harry and the Henderson trading cards. So thank you for joining me here in Cherry Log, Georgia for the Expedition Bigfoot Museum. A very, very, very lovingly created museum showing the bits and pieces and evidence of Bigfoot and Sasquatch and all the variants of Bigfoot and Sasquatch. You know, the owners here are very passionate about the Sasquatch, and they do collect information from people. This is considered an active research facility, so they collect a lot of reports of people that have seen Sasquatch. I've talked with them before. They've talked about there's a lot of shame in reporting Sasquatches. People don't want to be made fun of. People don't want to be called crazy, so they do try to create an environment where they can collect information about Sasquatch from people without people feeling judged or ridiculed, which is very, very cool. So yeah, if you have stories of Sasquatch or Bigfoot, leave those down in the description of this video. I'd like to see other places I've been, other Sasquatch museums, other cryptid-based museums. Check the interactive map in the description of the video. If you'd like to help support the channel, consider buying an enamel pin from the Etsy shop. Also, if you'd like to help support us on Patreon, a $3 or more donation will get you a postcard once a month. But until next time, this one's in the bag.